So how much time do people need in the sun? Obviously, we all need to see the sunrise and try and do that because that's important. That starts that
Right.
suprachiasmatic nucleus, that circadian clock, as you've mentioned. But how much sun do they need to get, Dr. J?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's one that, from a general standpoint, it's hard to answer because, like you said, it does matter, the skin type, your ancestry, the latitude that you live at, and the time of year. Because for me, I was a Fitzpatrick too, or am, and there are ways that you can develop UV tolerance over time, but you have to do it properly. What I typically advise people is, if you're a Fitzpatrick 1 or 2, you need to be careful. Okay, because usually the 3s and 4s, they're much more UV tolerant naturally. So the DMinder app, and I have no financial interest in any of these things, but the DMinder app is a good place to start. Okay, it's not going to allow you to overexpose yourself, so you can put your skin type, your latitude, the time of year, and it will give you an appropriate amount of skin exposure given the UV index at the latitude that you're at. And I would start there, but there are ways that you can improve. Like, for instance, as a 2, I would actually burn after about 30 minutes in any UV index over about 6. Now I have developed a solar callus, UV tolerance, where I can go to the Riviera Maya, Mexico, and I can be outside 6 to 8 hours a day in the UV index of 11 with no sunscreen. I do put a little bit of non-nano zinc on my nose, but everywhere else is fine. And so your body is unbelievably adaptable if you do it the right way, but you can't get the way the modern human does and expect not to have some skin damage, because it's not possible. But there are ways to do it safely, and it's really important to get the appropriate dose of ultraviolet light for you, and your personal context matters. And so you have to educate yourself on what your context is and learn how to use the sun properly. Light has a bimodal response curve, which means that if you get too little, it's not good. If you get too much, it's not good. So there's a actually sweet spot for each of us, and we have to learn what that is. And it would be no different than the amount of food that you eat, the amount of medication dose that you take. You may have to adjust that depending on your particular metabolism and your context.